Okay, hello Wolfpack. We're back here on Bitcoin today. Bitcoin has, of course, as you guys would know, dropped out of the ascending wedge formation, as you can see there. That is long gone. It's out of here. Descending wedge formation gone, broken to the downside. We've actually broken below as well, and this is one of the interesting parts of this video here. We've gone ahead and we haven't only broken the wedge for downside, we've also broken below the 200-week SMA. Now, we haven't weekly closed below it again, but in 3 days, right? So 3 daily candle closes from now, we will have the weekly close. And if we close that weekly below the 200-week SMA, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that we're probably going to be going down to the macro uptrending yellow line. And as you guys would know, just a quick refresher on my macro opinion, I'm a believer in the 4-year cycle theory on Bitcoin. I don't have it up right now, but I go about it basically every video. And essentially what that theory suggests, as per my date range trend regarding it, actually let me just bring it up very briefly here, is that we see a bottom on Bitcoin in Q4 this year. That is what the theory would suggest. So a Q4 bottom on Bitcoin. So this is the date range trend. As you can see, 4-year cycle theory starting from the halving and basically just, I've expanded the date range trend, pushed it over, and you can see it's predicting a bottom in Q4. Now, we can't be any more precise than Q4. I can't give you a specific month. The trend isn't as concrete as you would like. It's very vague still, and so Q4 is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to pin it down to a specific month. But what I can say is that, if we lose that macro uptrending line, this is really the bearish continuation breaker. Losing that line, a weekly candle blows that close below that line there. That's a very big short signal. That's a very big indicator that you need to be entering shorts, and you'd probably be finding that Bitcoin, if we lost that, wouldn't be bottoming until somewhere around 13.8k to 11.5k, which of course is the next major support zone below the macro uptrending line. So we really are on the edge of a cliff for Bitcoin, right? We're not as close to the edge, as some people would think, but we're very much getting there. I mean, look, one thing that I've found out and I've kind of looked at in the last few days is if I just remove everything from a daily chart and I draw this wedge here, right? So this channel, this is basically the channel formation Bitcoin is seeing right now, something like that, right? This bottom line of the channel, so this line here, which we're probably going to be drifting towards, right? Provided we close weekly below 200-week SMA, and whether we bounce off that or not is a different question, but that bottom line of a channel actually lines up perfectly, and you'll take my word for it, I've done the calculations, it lines up perfectly with this macro uptrending line. So in a way, this channel is actually an extension in the shorter term time frame of the macro uptrending line. And the bad part about that is that this channel is a bear flag formation, meaning that right now, Bitcoin is not only on the edge of a cliff, but it's formed a bear flag formation on the edge of a cliff on the macro scale, so that if we break this channel to the downside, which is a 70% chance of occurring according to the bear flag formation probabilities, right, we will break this macro uptrending line to the downside, meaning that there is a 70% chance that we break the macro uptrending line to the downside, meaning that there is probably a 70% chance that we bottom out at around 13.8k to 11.5k. Now, it is worth noting, as per the 300-week SMA, that we do have a brief support zone at around 17k. I wouldn't say brief, it's actually relatively strong. A support zone at 17k. So I said there's a pretty good chance if we lose that macro uptrending line, we bottom out at 13.5k to 11.5k. That is correct. However, there is also a chance that we could just go down to the 300-week SMA. If we apply it to the daily chart, we can see that the 300-week SMA would actually line up with some sort of double bottom on Bitcoin. So we could actually see a double bottom at 17k, or we could see a bottom at 13.5k to 11.5k. The point is, regardless of whether it's a double bottom in Q4, or regardless of whether it's a drop down to 13.5k, whatever, the chances are, and I've stuck by this literally for months and months and months, the chances are the bottom is not in, right? So whether we come down to 17.5k again, we don't break below it, but we just retest for level, and that's the bottom, right? Or whether we actually go below it. It's hard to say, but the chances are, I'd say 70% chance bottom's not in, right? And that's just basing off TA. I mean, there's no subjectiveness to that. I mean, there's nothing I can say about that. That's my subjective opinion. If you agree that Bitcoin is in a bear flag, you hence agree that Bitcoin is in a bear flag on the macro uptrending line. And if you agree that bear flags are bearish formations that typically break to the downside, then you would hence agree that Bitcoin is likely to break that macro downtrending line to the downside, uptrending line to the downside, and then you would hence agree that Bitcoin needs to find support at the nearest support, which is 17k, or down here at 13k to 11k. There's no my opinion in that. It's just objective. right? And this is what I try to do with my TA. I'm not trying to give you guys my opinion. My opinion is not relevant. I've said this before and there's been a lot of confusion about it. About a week ago, I said that, hey, it's pretty possible the bottom's in here, right? I said it about a week ago, but that's not my prediction. That's my opinion. My prediction has not changed the entire time. My Q4 prediction, you can go back at any of my videos. I've never said that's invalid. In fact, I've brought it up basically every video as being valid. So there needs to be a distinction between opinions and objective realities. And I think that right now, this is not an opinion. I don't think that me saying Bitcoin's likely to break to a downside here is an opinion. I think that is actual just TA. That's just TA in its purest form, because it's identifying a structure, looking at the mathematical realities and making an observation. It's not, okay, this is what I think the structure is, this is what I think it's going to do. There's no thinking about this. So if I'm correct, cool, wasn't even my opinion, it was just objective reality. If I'm wrong, cool, wasn't even my opinion, it's just objective reality. And once you get to that point in TA, that's when you really start to profit. Because you need to absolutely extract yourself out of the market, extract yourself out of a situation and bring it all into a centered reality. Because there's nothing about this that is opinionated. You know, I suppose the only opinionated and the only personal part of trading you should have is how your personal risk tolerance affects trades. It shouldn't be how you read the charts. The charts aren't opinionated. The charts, you can form arguments for certain, biases. But if you're actually a true analyst, you're good at weighing up those arguments and you're good at creating an objective reality. And, I suppose the thing is, and this is something I talked about before, when you're bad at TA, then it's an opinion. When you're good at TA, that's not an opinion anymore. That's reality. And so that's just probabilities. And that doesn't mean you can't be wrong. You can still be wrong because guess what? TA is not certain. There's percentages, there's probabilities for everything. But I suppose that was something I like to bring up there. But yeah, I suppose what we need to be waiting for now really is the weekly candle close. We've got 3 days into the weekly candle close. Should be very interesting because if we break below that 200-week SMA, I mean, what's really stopping us from breaking to the downside if we lose that? Not too much. I mean, we have brief support at 21.5K. We could see a little bounce off of that, but I mean, at that point, it's not looking too good for Bitcoin. And flipping over the chart, that's a pretty bullish structure. Flipping over the chart, we can see that that's definitely targeting a retest of that line there, which of course would be a targeted retest of the macro bear flag bottom line, and which of course would be a targeted retest of the macro uptrending line. So I think that Bitcoin personally will be retesting that macro uptrending line and retesting the bottom of the bear flag sometime from the next week or so. And I think it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens there. And I think that, this Q4 prediction that we've made, it's only a month and a half until Q4. Like, it's really starting to line up quite well. I would say it is. And, with oil, the only kind of spanner in the works that I've covered before is inflation. Now, the market has rallied for a reason. The market's rallied because inflation topped out, at least in short term. That's why the market rallied. There's no other reason for that. I mean, if you looked at the S&P 500, let's bring it up. That's really the only reason we went up. And if we go to the daily chart on it, and we can bring up when CPI came out, for example, and what we have here is actually a macro downtrending line on the S&P, something like that. I could draw it better if I wanted to, but it's essentially like that. It lines up perfectly. And essentially, CPI released for the month of, I think, it would have been June, somewhere around here, and immediately we started rising because the market predicted that CPI in July was going to be very, very low. A lot lower than it was in June. I think it was May. I'm mixing up the months here, but you know what I mean. And we started rallying as soon as inflation started to top out, really. And so now that potentially inflation might be not topped out, as we see by oil prices forming a descending wedge on support, and oil makes up a big part of inflation. It's a pretty good indicator of where inflation's going. If this breaks the upside, which it would do as per a descending wedge, or it should do as per a descending wedge, that means inflation's actually not topped out, and that would give a rejection to the S&P 500, and that would hence give a rejection to Bitcoin and bring Bitcoin down to this support. So, look, lots of things are lining up here. I want to make it very clear. So yeah, there's lots of things lining up here for Bitcoin, lots of things lining up for the market. I think that, as I said, and I've said this over and over again, I think the month of August, what we're in right now, will be very telling. I think this will pretty much determine the direction for Bitcoin. I think by the end of August, we will have a pretty clear point of view of what's going to happen with Bitcoin in regards to where the bottom's going to be, and not where, but when the bottom is going to be more likely. And yeah, I still stand by that Q4 prediction. Just shouting myself out a bit here. I mean, this is something that I'm not just making this up as we get to the bottom. I've been talking about the Q4 bottom on Bitcoin since like 60K, right? So, this is something that I've stuck by for a long period of time. And I'm not just going to throw it out the window because Bitcoin's gone up to 24K. I think a lot of people thought I did that. I don't really understand why. That's not what happened at all. And so, yeah, just remember that. This is something that I've stuck by for a long time. The whole Wolfpack has stuck by this for a long time. We're waiting for invalidation. Where would that invalidation come from? Well, I can tell you right now, it's not 100% certain we're right. But what I can say is that that prediction, Q4 bottom, is not invalid until 28.6K is broken or until Q4 has passed and gone, right? That's the only two ways this prediction gets invalidated, right? Until then, it's a valid prediction. So, I don't know. Let's wait and see, guys. Without further ado, I'll kind of look at V.I.P, I'll look at BitGet, I'll look at the Crypto Academy. I highly recommend you stick around for this part of the video. It supports the channel quite a bit. And it supports you as well, because if you want to sign up to Wolves of Crypto VIP and get some trading signals, let me fix the camera here. You can see on my YouTube channel homepage, there's a join button. Click on that join button and you'll see all the perks you can gain access to for less than $1 a day in US currency. And so you've got 4 trading setups per week, prioritized reply to comments, a 2-hour lecture on market psychology, and exclusive Telegram group access. We've got 200 members in there. I highly recommend you try it out. And if you haven't signed up to someone's membership via YouTube before, you should get I think like a 20% discount or something for your first sign up, so you can take advantage of that as well. And then of course we've got the BitGet Exchange, my favorite exchange, my personal primary exchange that I use primarily. Why do I use it? Well, it's got non-KYC, which lines up with the values of cryptocurrency being decentralized. It's also got half the fees of Binance. And it's also got systems in place to protect traders from exchange-driven scam wicks, which we had a big problem with on Binance during 2021. So sign up to this exchange. It takes 5 minutes. Use my referral link in the pinned comment below. And then lastly, we've got the Crypto Academy's Become a Trader course. This is a course developed by myself and Megawell Crypto. We made this course this year, and we're essentially teaching people how to trade, basically from step 1 to step infinite. So if you don't know anything about crypto, don't know anything about trading, you can take this course. Similarly, if you know some things about trading, some things about crypto, you can take this course and you can advance your level of knowledge. So if you want to become a 63rd student, you can do that by signing up via emailing us here at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.